Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to iWizard. Today we're going through our favorite Buffy the Vampire Slayer episodes of all time. 7 seasons, 145 episodes, and we're narrowing it down to 32. The ultimate Buffy bracket. Together, we will take you through a series of head-to-head matchups to find out which episode will be the chosen one. The chosen one.
And this is in celebration of Buffy airing 25 years ago this week. Whoa,
we're so old.
Super old. Oh, it sucks. Okay, but it's okay.
It's okay.
So
because we have Buffy.
We have Buffy, and Buffy is one of our favorite shows of all time. Maybe the favorite.
It is our favorite show.
So as a tribute, we are devising our own Slayer Fest.
Yes.
22.
Yes, Slayer Fest. Welcome back to iWizard. So we thought we'd start by talking a little bit about what Buffy means to us, because I think we both have personal stories about how we came to Buffy. Mine actually has to do with Nikki, and hers goes all the way back to when she was a preteen. So you want to start?
Yeah. I was first introduced to Buffy when I was 12 years old by my cousin. We were on vacation in New Jersey, and she actually introduced me to both Buffy and Roswell, which is another one of my favorite shows.
I love Roswell.
Yeah, and so I didn't start watching it in real time until season 5, and so I used to watch it on Tuesday nights with my dad, which was a lot of fun.
Wait, you didn't start with season 1? You started with season 5?
No, I caught up.
Oh, you caught up?
On all the reruns. They had the repeats on FX.
Yep.
And they would be released after the X-Files. That was their little runtime.
Another great
so
show.
I didn't see a lot of full episodes of the X-Files, but I saw a lot of X-Files endings. So because they're on before Buffy.
They had good endings.
So yeah, I saw all the episodes to get caught up. And so yeah, I watched seasons 5 and 6 in real time with my dad, and he bought me the first 2 seasons on DVD, and that was before we had a DVD player.
You're aging us. You're dating us.
Well, it was before we had a DVD player connected to the TV.
Yeah.
So I would watch it on the computer.
You're getting a little misty. It's okay. It's okay. Just work through it. Let's work through this. I know Buffy is super meaningful to us. Go ahead. All right. Sorry, guys. You can tell how much this show means to some of us. Well, both of us.
Well, there's a lot of memories tied into it, and that's part of the reason that we have these favorite things, right?
Yes.
It's the memories and the emotions that it evokes, and it evokes a lot of emotion in me. Right. And I feel like this series really had a big role in making me who I am.
Yeah.
Because I started watching it as a preteen, and so I really grew with it. And as I said earlier, my dad bought me the first 2 seasons on DVD, and so we didn't have a DVD player for our TV, so I watched it on the family computer on DVD, perched in this wooden kitchen chair. And that's also how I watched Fellowship of the Ring. And that was my introduction to Lord of the Rings, and I got so into that. That's when I started reading all the books.
It's a masterpiece.
Yeah, and Buffy has that same special feel to me. It's when you find something, I feel like we spend a lot of our life just searching for something that's that special.
That's right.
That special feel. And I watched seasons 5 and 6 in real time, which was awesome. But season 7, I entered my freshman year of high school, and I got really busy, and I had sports, and I had my study. It was just, I didn't have any time for TV, and so I stopped watching. And so I didn't see season 7 until my freshman year of college, when I watched them all through over again. And I think it was good for me to see it later. I think I would have been a little too young for season 7 back as a freshman in high school, a 15-year-old.
And there was no streaming, so you probably watched the DVDs, right?
Yeah, we have all the DVDs. Yeah.
We're one of those rare. We actually have the DVDs.
Yeah, and they won't even work on our Xbox. So
I know that stinks.
I know.
I think it's funny that we often talk about how books influence television, and we act like literature is this like primary essential thing that then feeds into that's where we create our stories, and then we make movies and television shows on the basis. Some of the greatest films and television shows of all time are based on books, but Buffy is one of those rare instances where and you mentioned Lord of the Rings, and you mentioned how watching Lord of the Rings made you only want to read the books more.
Yeah, I just needed more at the end of it. I was like, whoa, what just happened?
I'm in love with this world.
Yeah.
Now I need to go find the manual that pertains to it. Yeah.
So it was my gateway.
Yeah, and so I'll tell you a little bit about my Buffy story, and I did mention this when I talked to Mike from Mike's Books. You can check out we did a pretty long discussion. But for me, I was kind of a normie when it came to like fantasy and horror and sci-fi. I wasn't into that stuff. And I was doing my undergraduate in philosophy and literature, and I was reading all of this really kind of heady, very serious academic stuff, high literature. I was reading Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus, and I was doing my degree in philosophy, so I was learning about the modern philosophers and the ancient Greeks, and I was reading Charles Dickens and Enlightenment stuff, and Nikki was over here reading fantasy and sci-fi, and I was just kind of like, okay, whatever. She's got this quirky little hobby. And eventually, over time, she worked on me. She really worked on me, and she started trying to get me to participate in some of the things that she loves. I think it started with Harry Potter. And when I was an undergrad at SUNY Binghamton, we read Harry Potter out loud.
It took a lot of convincing. He wanted nothing to do with it, but we read them all out loud.
I didn't get it. I was like, this is fantastical. This makes no sense. I don't want to read stories about witches. I had to read Macbeth in high school, so I don't care about the witches anymore. I'm over it. And then so we read it, and I said, this is amazing. I love it. I'm having a great time. No, is it William Faulkner? No. But it doesn't need to be, right? And sometimes all it needs to be is a bedtime story, right? Life is hard, and we had a great time reading Harry Potter out loud, and then that opened the door for me, and I said, okay, maybe fantasy and sci-fi and horror, maybe I kind of am into that stuff. I don't know. And then when I got into graduate school, we were in Ithaca. I was going to Ithaca College. She was going to Cornell.
Fun fact: you and David Boreanaz share an alma mater.
Yeah, David Boreanaz actually went to my alma mater, and he was I there when he spoke?
No, it was the year before, I think.
It was the year before.
He was the commencement speaker.
I had already
but we were living in Ithaca because I was at Cornell already, and I
had gotten into Ithaca College already, and I was waiting to go there, I think. And he was speaking there. I'm pretty sure he had several drinks in him. Like he gave like a really kind of like, just a kind of a boozy graduation
That was
speech.
like the year of like the celebrity commencement speakers, because at Cornell that year, Ed Helms,
Andy
Bernard,
yeah,
gave the Cornell speech.
So I was in graduate school, and Nikki had been trying to convince me to watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer for years, and every time she brought it up, I would say, it's called Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like, no, I'm not watching that. I'm a serious person. I'm not watching that's ridiculous. It's just not my thing. I'm glad you like it, honey, but it's not my thing.
I'll tell you the rest of the story later about the first episode I showed him. It was too soon for him.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about it later, though.
Is it true? I didn't get it at first.
You did not like it.
I didn't get it at first. But eventually through some weird osmosis, through some kind of willow magic, we'll call it willow magic, we started watching it, and I ended up really enjoying it, and then I became obsessed with it, and I couldn't stop watching it, and we've pretty much watched it once a year ever since then, or at least every other year.
In preparation for this, we started rewatching back in September, and there's that order, right, where you're supposed to watch Buffy and Angel in a certain order. Oh, and I have a notebook with all that in there.
Yes.
I'm gonna get my notebook. BRB. Okay, so there's this specific order that you can watch Buffy and Angel together, so that all the, what are they called, crossover episodes actually crossover, right? And so I have my Buffy notebook, and I have our watcher queue with the order, okay? And so you can see Buffy's here and Angel's here as it comes in after season 3 of Buffy, right? Angel begins.
So we put a lot of prep into this.
Yeah, and so we were trying to watch all of them in preparation, and we're like trying to circle our favorite episodes when they came up. And
yes, what we did was we started over from scratch. We watched all of the Buffy episodes, and we picked our favorites. We said these are the best Buffy episodes, and we ended up with 32 episodes. And so we said, okay, that's way too many. Let's just make a top 10 video, right? There's top 10 videos all over the internet. We said,
We couldn't do it. We can't do it.
We couldn't do it. No. So we said, okay, how are we going to do this?
What we've decided to do is we're going to do a head-to-head death match where we thematically couple the 32 episodes. So we have 16 matches to start. And when an episode is out, it is out. It does not come back from the dead like everyone in the Buffyverse.
Yeah, and this was...
So it'll be out. And the way that we're going to do it so we can talk more about all the episodes and we can show you clips from all the episodes is we're going to show you exit clips of the episode that loses. So that we're not just repeating stuff again and again.
Yeah, so when an episode loses, we'll say bye-bye to it. And I also...
We'll focus on it a little more.
Yeah, I also want to credit Madison from Mike's Books Discord. Madison has her own YouTube channel. We'll link to it below. But she was the one who commented under one of, I think it was the Mike's Books discussion. And she said, oh, cool, you guys are doing a bracket. And I hadn't actually thought ever of doing a bracket. And then I thought we could do this. We could make a bracket and we could go head to head and we could do, like a college basketball style championship.
And so afterwards we have the Sweet 16 second round, then we have the Elite 8 and the Final 4, and then the Chosen 2, but there can only be one.
All right, so without further ado, let's get into our first round of eliminations, starting with, and remember, we're doing this thematically. So we're grouping the matchups by theme, and this first one is titled Welcome to the Hellmouth, okay? And that's because these 2 episodes feature new characters. The first one is Spike's first episode, and the second one is Dawn's first episode.
Her first full episode.
So it's like, welcome to the Hellmouth. Okay, so for our first head-to-head matchup, we have School Hard, Season 2, Episode 3 versus Real Me, which is Season 5, Episode 2. Let's start with School Hard. Buffy, through her bad behavior and malfeasance, is forced to do community service for her high school. It's Parents' Night, if you remember this episode, at Sunnydale High School. And of course, we've got the whole storyline with Spike and the Anointed One, both of whom are trying to kill Buffy.
And Buffy's in charge of putting Parents' Night together and making sure that it goes off without a hitch.
Right. Principal Snyder has punished her. She has to put the Parents' Night together.
Snyder doesn't like her.
Snyder hates her. He's got a bias against her. And so the Anointed One commissions Spike to invade Parents' Night with his gang of vampires. And Buffy, who is running Parents' Night, has to save the day, proving to her mother that she is not a joke and that she can take care of herself and others.
Even though she doesn't know sugar goes in lemonade.
Even though she forgets to put the sugar in the lemonade. Next up is Season 5, Episode 2, Real Me. While Buffy and Giles heat up the training, Harmony's gang targets Mr. Bogarty's magic box and kills the owner. Willow sees the guy lying there dead, and then Harmony's gang turns its attention to Buffy. So this is the one where Dawn is starting to feel overshadowed by her heroic Slayer sister, and it's also the one, and I like this because this is the one where crazy people are going up to Dawn and saying, you don't belong here and you're nothing, because of course Dawn is the key, and she kind of isn't 100% real, but she doesn't know it yet.
And Riley, Buffy's boyfriend, keeps calling Dawn kid, which doesn't help. I'm not a kid. So Buffy is hunting Harmony, and this is also the episode where Giles decides to buy the magic shop, which ends up becoming the new home base for the Scooby Gang. And I love this part of the show where the first home base is the library, and then you get Giles's apartment, and then they move to the magic shop, and then there's Buffy's house and Xander's apartment.
Oh, and Xander's apartment for a little while. So there are different home bases throughout the series, and I really do like that.
And if you don't remember Harmony, She was one of the popular girls in high school. She was a frenemy with Cordelia, so she was one of the Cordettes, and she was vamped right after graduation.
But ultimately, I'm going to say, because there are so many good moments here, and this one is just vintage, classic Buffy, and I think it's just a better made episode. We're going to go with School Hard. So we're going to have to say goodbye to real me. So long, rest in peace.
There's a lot of books on this list. Any of them come on tape? You know, read by George Clooney or someone cute like that?
This matchup is Oops, I Kissed a Vampire Again. So this is Angel versus Intervention. In Angel, we have Buffy's first kiss with the vampire Angel versus Buffy's first real kiss with the vampire Spike. And fun fact, Angel aired on Sarah Michelle Gellar's 20th birthday. And in the episode, Buffy is crushing super hard on Angel. So, she's talking a lot to Willow about it. And also important in this episode, Buffy first uses the crossbow.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is when she starts using the crossbow. But anyway, she and Angel are running away from the three who was set on them by Master, I think.
The Master.
And so they're running away from the three. So they hide out in the Summers house, and then Angel stays in Buffy's room while she's at school. And so eventually this leads to their first kiss. And they kiss, and Angel's face goes all vampy. She had no idea that he was a vampire. Oh no. I know. And so anyway, we learn a little bit more about Angel's past, how old he is, and that he was sired by Darla. So we get the vampire Darla in this, and she causes some trouble. And then there's like this crazy shootout in the end of the episode in the Bronze where she's like double wielding guns.
She is trouble.
She is trouble. And then finally, at the end of the episode, we get that famous kiss where the cross is burned on Angel's chest.
Yeah.
Okay, Intervention is the first episode with the Buffy bot because Spike is obsessed with Buffy. He goes and he commissions the construction of his love robot. Well,
was it
girlfriend.
Warren? It was
Warren. Yep, the geek Warren, who's part of the trio, which is sort of the villain, sort of, in season 6.
The trio is Warren, Jonathan, and
Andrew. Tucker's brother. Tucker's brother. Anyway. Buffy, in this episode, fears that she's turning to stone and losing her ability to love. So she goes on a spiritual quest in the desert with Giles. And so, of course, when Buffy's away, Buffy Bot is around. And so, like, funniness and silliness completely ensues because there's confusion. And anyway, Spike's heroic performance in this episode earns him his first real kiss from Buffy, non-magically induced.
Nice.
Anyway, I have to go with Intervention on this round. So, R.I.P. Angel. It's so sad to say.
Oh.
Angel's a vampire. You're a Slayer. I think it's obvious what you have to do.
Our next matchup is Bullets That Weren't, so you can get an idea from the theme there of what these episodes are about. The first episode here is I Only Have Eyes for You. There is a bitter spirit haunting the halls of Sunnydale High, and Buffy has to recruit the Scooby Gang to help this tortured soul in its quest for peace. Meanwhile, Giles is filled with anguish when he believes that the trapped spirit is actually Jenny, trying to impart a final message to him from the beyond. So this is one where there's this teacher-student affair from like 1955, and the characters in the present are forced to reenact this dramatic scene from the eve of the Sadie Hawkins dance that has to do with guns and disagreements. It's a really fun episode, and it's got kind of a retro feel, but it's also kind of sad because it's about heartbreak and tortured souls, and Giles is feeling that anguish of his lost love, Jenny Calendar, as well. And
can I just say, one of the best parts of the episode is when both Buffy and Angel get possessed by the spirits.
Yes. Oh, yes, for sure.
That's
I
important.
love that part. Up against that one is Earshot. So this is the one where Buffy fights these demons with no mouths. They're really disgusting. And it leaves her with the ability to hear people's thoughts. It infects her. And this is kind of a really horrible ability. You would think you would want to have the ability to read people's minds. But it really weighs on Buffy and it drives her nuts. That is, until Buffy is in the cafeteria one day and she overhears that someone is planning to shoot up the school. Oh my goodness. But she can't really tell who it is because the cafeteria is so crowded. And so the rest of the episode is this mad dash with the Scooby Gang to try to figure out who the gunman is, who's going to shoot up the school.
Well, it was that you're all going to die tomorrow.
Yeah, you're all going to die tomorrow.
Wasn't necessarily.
Yeah, we don't figure that out until the end, or
is it?
Or is it, right? So they come up with a list of suspects, including this teacher who hates students, right? Every time Buffy walks by someone, she can hear what they're thinking. So if a teacher is like, oh, I hate all these kids, I wish they would die, she's like, okay, now he's a suspect, right? So, and then there's this student reporter who's writing all of these sort of emo, sort of whiny, nihilistic op-eds, and she thinks, okay, well, this guy's a loser, so it could be him as well. And so it's a really thrilling episode because there are a bunch of twists and turns, and this is a fascinating one because Buffy basically has what amounts to a curse, since you would think you'd want to be able to read people's minds, but she now can not only feel her own pain and existential anguish, but now she is privy to other people's as well. And so that starts to weigh on her. And a little bit of trivia. This episode, Earshot, was supposed to be aired for season 3, episode 18. But because of the Columbine shooting, right, that happened like just a week before this episode was supposed to air, they had to delay it, and it didn't end up airing until season 4. And of course, if you delay it for that long, it doesn't really fit in with the next season. But obviously, Buffy learning that someone's going to attack the school and kill everyone in it, you don't want to air that a few days after the Columbine shooting. And so that was a weird one, a little bit of trivia in Buffy history there. But ultimately, it's a great episode, and I think Earshot definitely is going to win the day there. And so I only have eyes for you. I'm sorry. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. It's a great episode.
Well, despite the Xander speak, it's a fairly accurate definition of a poltergeist.
I define something? Accurately? Guess I'm done with the book learning.
Next up, we have Without Soul. So here we have innocence versus passion. And as you probably remember, the second half of the second season involves Angel losing his soul, or not having a soul. And so he's pure evil. And this, of course, happens after Buffy's 17th birthday. He experiences one moment of true happiness with her, and innocence picks up on the morning after. And fun fact, Buffy originally aired on Mondays until this episode. Then it switched to its Tuesday night time slot. So that week, if you were watching in real time, you got Surprise, that episode with Buffy's birthday and Angel's moment of true happiness on that Monday. And then the very next day, you got the morning after, Innocence. And it was not a good morning after. And so the famous first scene, Angel's like doubled over in the rain, feeling lots of pain, and then his soul escapes and the pain is gone. And the first woman he bites is actually played by Sarah Michelle Gellar's stunt double, Sophia Crawford, in that famous scene there. This is also the first episode you get a battle between Buffy and Angel, and they're going up against the judge. So Angel goes and rejoins his vampire family, so Spike and Drusilla, and they join the judge, and the judge burns the humanity out of people. And when he burns Angel, there's not a shred of humanity in him. So even for a vampire, some vampires have humanity in them. Angel does not. So anyway, that's going up against Passion, and oh my god, Passion is just such a good episode, and Angel's just continues to be obsessed with Buffy, and he's like sneaking into her room and her mom's room, and he's like drawing pictures of them while they sleep, and he like leaves them next to their pillows, and he's being super, super super creepy. And anyway, we'll talk more about that one later because passion wins. So sorry, R.I.P. Innocence.
Who dares?
I think I got his attention.
You're a fool. No weapon forged can stop me.
That was then. This is now.
Next up, we have the Existential Watcher. This is a new man and Buffy versus Dracula head to head. So let's start with the new man. Buffy's in college, it's her birthday, and she and Riley are becoming very romantic, very steamy. Giles is feeling left out. He gets super drunk with his old buddy, the dastardly Ethan Rayne. But when he wakes up, Giles, that is, he finds he's been turned into this very ugly demon.
Worst hangover ever.
Yes. Rather like Gregor Samsa from Kafka's Metamorphosis. He wakes up as an evil demon. So the Scooby Gang has to hunt.
But is he evil?
No, he's not, because it's Giles underneath. And so the Scooby Gang is on the case. But here's the question. Will they learn in time that this demon that they're hunting is actually Giles underneath, or will Buffy kill him? It could be that it's too late and Buffy just takes him out without realizing that it's Giles. So if you remember, this is the one where Spike finally moves out from Xander's basement, and Buffy's psychology professor, we learn that instructor Professor Walsh is kind of scouting and recruiting Buffy, and we also learn about room 314. So all of that is pretty interesting. Good episode there. Season 5, Episode 1, Buffy versus Dracula. This is the episode where we finally get to meet Dracula. So Buffy is out patrolling and hunting in the graveyard like always, and finally, after all these years of hearing about the Slayer, the one and only Dracula has come to find Buffy in Sunnydale.
She's a bit starstruck, which is so cute.
She's starstruck. So not only is Buffy starstruck by Dracula, but she's powerless under his thrall. And to make matters worse, Xander is too. And so Xander becomes Dracula's emissary.
He starts eating all these bugs and stuff.
And everyone's smitten with Dracula. This is an awesome episode because Dracula is totally different from any other vampire we've met in this show so far. He can turn into a bat and fly away. He can disappear into the air like mist. He's impossible to kill, basically. Also, the episode ends with this epic battle between Buffy and Dracula in Dracula's Gothic mansion that is unforgettable. So you have to watch this one. And ultimately, because of all of those things, guys, Buffy versus Dracula is going to win. I cannot get that episode out of my head. And so I'm sorry, but it's going to be sayonara to a new man. We love you. We love you, a new man, but it's over for you.
Nothing was going to happen.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that at all. In fact, Ripper, old mate, I'd say something rather interesting was about to happen. Someone... Oh, bug, I thought you'd gone.
Okay, here we have Come As You Aren't. And this is Halloween versus Band Candy. And these are two fantastic Ethan Rayne episodes. The best of the best for Ethan Rayne. And Halloween is actually Ethan's first episode. He's Giles's friend from his Ripper days, so Giles's youth, where he got into some trouble with the magics. And so we learn a little bit about Giles's past. And Ethan has opened up a new costume shop in Sunnydale, and he has done a spell to bewitch all the costumes so that everyone turns into their costumes.
Love it.
And Buffy ends up turning into an 18th century noblewoman, so she no longer has her Slayer mentality. Xander becomes a commando, and Willow dies. She becomes a ghost. And during all of this, Spike is hunting Buffy. So what happens? All right, now Band Candy, Ethan is working with the vampire, Mr. Trick, who works for the mayor, which is a big story arc there. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to incapacitate the adults of Sunnydale so that everyone is out of it while the tribute for the demon Lurkonis is made, or while they collect the tribute. And so the students of Sunnydale High are all forced to sell banned candy by Principal Snyder, even if they're not in the band. He doesn't care. You're selling the candy. And so, of course, this candy is bewitched by Ethan Rayne. And it makes anyone who eats it, so if adults eat the candy, it makes them behave like teenagers. So we get to follow teenager spirited Giles and Joyce quite a bit in this episode as they get themselves into trouble and do some other things together. Anyway, well, that's a great episode. Halloween does win this round. R.I.P. Band Candy.
Hey, the way things were going, be glad that's the worst that happened. At least I got to the two of you before you actually did something.
Right.
Indeed.
Yes.
Our next theme is closing time. And we have Graduation Day Part 2 versus Villains. It's graduation day for Sunnydale High School, class of 1999, but there's a cloud of doom over Buffy's head because the mayor who's speaking at the ceremony is undergoing his ascension to become a pure demon. And he's going to do this in front of the entire class, and then also Faith shoots Angel with this special arrow, which will kill him if he doesn't get the antidote, the only one in existence, which is, what do you think it is? It's Slayer blood.
But not just Slayer blood, draining a Slayer.
Draining a Slayer. You have to drain the Slayer. So Angel has to feed on Buffy, risking her life as Buffy defies orders of the Watchers Council so she can save the world. This is the final episode of season 3. And this episode is killer. I'm telling you, it's killer because the corrupt mayor of Sunnydale turns into a giant serpent and tries to kill everyone. But it's cool because we get this Lord of the Rings Battle of Pelennor Fields sort of war against the serpent and the forces of darkness. And there's spears and there's flaming arrows and epic combat, and people are raising clubs in the air and charging at each other. And of course, Principal Snyder gets eaten.
But it's the best because it's graduation day. So under everyone's robes, they have weapons.
They have weapons under their robes because they know it's coming.
So it's very meaningful though, like graduation from teenagerness to being adults.
That's right. They're
ready for the battle.
They're ready for the battle. That is adult life. And I'm telling you, it's relentless. It's an onslaught. And Principal Snyder gets eaten. And
that's
is
just wonderful.
Very satisfying.
It is so satisfying.
Does the serpent look totally fake in this episode? Yes. Does the explosion of the high school look fake? Yes, unfortunately. But it's a great episode nonetheless. Also, this episode features the last meeting in the library, which is very sort of poignant and nostalgic for me. So kind of sad one there. Going up against villains. So this is the episode right after Buffy and Tara have been shot by Warren. So very emotional there. Buffy is still alive. Tara is dead. So this is the episode where Willow goes absolutely nutso and morphs into this extremely powerful goth witch version of herself. So Willow is hellbent on destruction. Specifically, this is a revenge story. She is coming after Warren. This entire episode is basically Willow trying to hunt down Warren, and Warren's got some tricks up his sleeve too. So Willow basically inhales, downloads all of this knowledge at the magic shop and turns into this scary raven, demon Willow almost, witch Willow, before hunting down Warren. Dark Willow.
Yeah,
scary
Dark Willow.
And so this is a really fast-paced, action-packed episode. Some really kind of intense stuff from Willow. Really gives you the chills, the metamorphosis that she undergoes, turning into this dark sorcerer. And the thing is Warren may have shot Buffy, but he doesn't kill Buffy. So Buffy is after him as well. And so this is two badass women hunting down a skeezy robot-making weird dude named Warren. So ultimately, Villains is going to have to win out because Villains is one of the all-time great Buffy episodes. And, you just can't beat that fury that comes out of Willow there.
And it's also important to note that Willow brings down the magic box in her destructive mode.
Yeah.
So it's closing for the magic box as
closing
well. So we get the end of the library and the end of the magic box.
That's right.
Today, you all graduate from high school. Today, all the pain, all the work, all the excitement is finally over. Now, what's 100 years of history compared to that?
My God.
But you know what, kids?
He's gonna do the entire speech.
Maybe the
Man, just ascend already.
Maybe you have a place in Sunnydale's history.
So next up, we have I Have No Voice, But I Must Sing is the category.
Did you get that from Harlan Ellison's I Have No Mouth, But I Must Scream?
Yeah, that's where it came from.
It's clever.
And so that is going to be Once More with Feeling, the musical episode, versus Hush, the silent episode. And this is to keep things exciting because these are two huge episodes. There's two of the best episodes in the entire series. So we thought...
This is like a 1 seed versus a 2 seed.
I know. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. And so we're pitting them against each other early on to keep things exciting.
Let's do it.
I love both these episodes. So this is hard. And in Once More with Feeling, what happens is Xander summons the demon Sweet from the underworld. And what happens when you summon this demon is the whole town turns into a musical. It turns into the cast of a musical. And so it's just such a fun episode. It's so enjoyable. You can watch it again and again. The songs are catchy. They're really well done. The cinematography is absolutely gorgeous.
Nobody's a good singer.
Well, I really do like that the actors sing all
Giles
the
is
songs.
a good singer.
Yeah, James Marsters is a pretty good singer. Amber Benson.
Yeah.
Anyway. But I really do like that the actors decide to sing their own songs because it's a spell. Of course, they're not going to be super perfect musically. And I'm not one who can stop talk. I'm like absolutely tone deaf. If I was to match my singing ability with any of the characters, I'd probably match myself with Allison Hannigan. So I can't really judge. You can sing, but it's okay. And also at the end of this episode, you get this really passionate kiss between Spike and Buffy, and there's a great reveal that's just so I love this episode. But it's going up against Hush, and Hush is another phenomenal episode. That's where the fairy tale gentlemen come to town and they steal everyone's voices, and so there's only like 15 minutes or so of dialogue in the entire episode. So the dialogue is on when it's on, and it's just somehow Whedon pulled it off. Joss pulled it off. And it opens with the first on-screen kiss between Riley and Buffy, and it's in a dream sequence. And so there's this auditorium, it was a lecture auditorium just packed. And they packed it with everyone on set, the staff, the production offices, all the visitors. So in that audience there is Andy Hallett, who's Lauren from Angel, he runs that bar. And he's the empathy demon.
Yep.
He can judge people's future from how they sing.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's in there.
Yeah.
Actually, during that first kiss. And the inspiration for the gentleman included a cross between Nosferatu, Pinhead from Hellraiser, and Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. That's
really?
Yeah, that's wrong.
So these guys?
Those guys.
Really? Mr. Burns from The Simpsons?
You can see that.
Nosferatu? Yeah, hell yeah, I can.
And Pinhead.
That makes sense.
Anyway, this is hard, but Hush is going to have to win.
Absolutely.
So
I respect that.
I'm sorry Once More with Feeling.
Bye-bye.
R.I.P.
Bye-bye.
Well, is it just us? I mean, is it only happening to us? Because that would probably mean a spell.
They got the mustard.
Let me rest in peace. Why won't you let me rest in peace?